London, 1720. The greatest scientific mind in human history, the man who decoded gravity itself, sells his shares in a booming stock, pockets a handsome profit, and declares the market overheated. He is, of course, exactly right. Then he watches from the sidelines as the price keeps climbing and his friends keep getting richer. Weeks later, Isaac Newton buys back in, near the very top, and loses a fortune worth millions in today's money. He reportedly said afterward that he could calculate the motion of heavenly bodies, but not the madness of people. Whether he truly said it, the ledgers agree with the sentiment. This is the South Sea Bubble, the year England lost its mind, and the proof that intelligence is no vaccine against a mania. The South Sea Company was born in 1711 wearing a costume, a trading company with a royal monopoly on commerce with South America. One problem, Spain controlled South America and permitted almost no trade at all. The company's real business was something newer and stranger, swallowing the national debt. In 1720, it struck the deal of the century with Parliament. Holders of government debt could swap it for South Sea shares. The higher the share price rose, the more profitable the swap became for the company. If that circular logic sounds familiar, it should. It was John Law's Mississippi machine, imported across the Channel the very same year, dressed in an English wig. And to make sure Parliament approved it, the company distributed free shares to ministers, bribes with a built-in incentive to keep the price rising. It worked like gravity in reverse. 128 pounds in January, 330 by March, 550 in May, over 1,000 by late June, an eightfold rise in 6 months. Exchange Alley, the crooked lane of coffee houses where shares changed hands, became the loudest place in England. Duchesses pawned jewels to buy in. Poets wrote of easy fortunes. The king himself was a shareholder, and with money this easy, imitators bloomed like mold. New companies floated weekly for importing walnut trees, for a wheel of perpetual motion, and according to the era's most famous story, one for carrying on an undertaking of great advantage, but nobody to know what it is. Historians debate whether that prospectus truly existed. That the joke was plausible tells you everything about the summer of 1720. Here's the irony this story turns on. In June, Parliament passed the Bubble Act, banning joint stock companies without a royal charter. School books once called it a wise reaction to the mania. The truth is better. The South Sea Company itself pushed the law to kill the copycat companies competing for investors' cash. It worked exactly as designed, and then it backfired catastrophically. When the copycats were struck down in August, investors who owned them had to sell something to cover their losses. They sold the one liquid thing they had, South Sea shares. The company had built a weapon to defend its bubble and shot itself with it. The collapse took one autumn, 1,000 pounds in June, 400 by mid-September, under 200 by the month's end, back to where the year began, as if the madness had been a dream everyone dreamed at once. But debts contracted inside a dream are real at dawn. Goldsmith bankers who had lent against shares failed, estates evaporated. A wave of bankruptcies and more than a few suicides swept through society, from clerks to lords. Newton took his famous loss, 20,000 pounds, a fortune, and, according to his niece, could not bear to hear the words South Sea for the rest of his life. Then England did something France never dared after law. It held a trial. Parliament's inquiry of 1721 found the bribery ledgers. The company's cashier fled to Europe with the books. The Chancellor of the Exchequer was expelled and imprisoned in the Tower. Directors' personal estates were confiscated to repay investors. Out of the wreckage rose a quiet Norfolk politician named Robert Walpole, who managed the cleanup so smoothly, shielding the king and the government's core from the scandal, that he's remembered as Britain's first prime minister. And the Bubble Act, the company's own weapon, remained on the books for over a century, throttling English joint stock companies until the railways demanded their return. The South Seas warning sign is the one Newton wrote in his own account book. Being right is not enough. You must also survive being early and resist re-entering late. Newton's fatal trade wasn't his first purchase. It was his second, the one driven by watching friends get rich after he'd sensibly sold. There's a name for that feeling now, and entire markets still run on it. When you feel it, remember the man who mapped the heavens, buying the top. Tomorrow, we leave bubbles for the fastest monetary destruction ever recorded, a currency that halved in value every 15 hours. Hungary, 1946. A new fortune falls here every day. Subscribe.